y'all let me know when you're ready. Everybody's good?
Y'all good? Everybody's good?
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Lafayette Police, and thank you for coming. We ask you all here today to talk about a case that has led an arrest that has been made in another cold case homicide. This is the case from back in December of 2008. The victim, Bonnie Ruphard, was discovered in the 400 block of Lachenet Road. The subsequent investigation led to the collection of DNA from a possible suspect, and recently, on March 8th, 2018, 10 years later, a suspect was identified as Millard Hebert of Youngsville. This case highlights the good work of the Lafayette Police Department Special Investigations Unit, the Lafayette Police Department's Crime Scene Unit, and the work of the Acadiana Crime Lab. And I have behind me Detective Stephen Bajot, Detective Scott Broussard, and Kevin Ordway, and I'm going to ask each of them to step up and talk a little bit about this case with you guys. We'll start with Stephen.
Good morning, everyone. My job here is to investigate cold case homicides as part of the Special Investigations Unit. This case was really close to me. As a junior investigator here, I was actually called out to assist the homicide investigator on the scene back in 2008, and was able to work through this and see how the leads developed and ultimately see its conclusion with an arrest. Miss Ruphard wasn't from this area. She was from around the Illinois area and was doing work at the time of her homicide. And in 2008, it was unknown. On February 15th, the suspect, Mr. Hebert, was arrested for unrelated charges, and at that time, he was swabbed during the booking process. And at that point, a match was made to Mr. Hebert. I then interviewed him regarding his involvement in this homicide, and he provided a full confession to killing Miss Ruphard, and was not able to be linked to any other cases. It was determined that this was an isolated incident, just a one-time occurrence where he committed this homicide here in Lafayette. So at this point, I'll let Detective Broussard speak about how the DNA was collected and what led to this arrest.
Good morning, everyone. During the initial analysis of the blood that was discovered on the scene, a unique stain was discovered, which was swabbed. That stain, along with the other evidence that was collected, produced a suspect. That suspect was arrested here recently in a sample match to him. The one thing I'd like to also add is that these violent crimes are processed with the same goal, from patrol showing up and securing the scene, making it safe, to crime scene investigators processing the scene, to detectives investigating, and finally with Acadia Crime Lab doing a scientific analysis on the samples to develop a suspect. And that goal is always to get justice for all victims and their families. Thank you.
Kevin.
Yes, again, my name is Kevin Ordway. I'm a lab director with the Acadiana Crime Lab. Our laboratory incidentally serves 8 parishes in the Acadiana area, which obviously includes the Lafayette Police Department and all law enforcement within those 8 parishes. Our involvement in this case, basically, evidence comes into us, physical evidence such as this, and when it comes to biological or DNA evidence of this nature, this evidence will come to us. We'll process it, develop it, and look for any DNA profiles that we can develop from the evidence submitted to us. And in fact, that did happen in this case, based on the good work from the Lafayette Police Department to submit this good evidence to us. And then we were able to process and develop the profiles, which ultimately made the association, and then, of course, ended up in making the arrest. So I'm very thankful to Ms. Winnie Krowski as our lead DNA analyst who is involved in this case, and all of our analysts and technicians that have worked in this. We're very appreciative for the diligence and the perseverance that they showed, not only in this case, but for all cases that are submitted, because as you know, our work is never done, and we have still a lot to be done. But again, very thankful to them and law enforcement and the police department for the good work that they did as well. Thank you.
You know, we at the Lafayette Police Department want the public to understand that we don't put cases down here. It may have taken us 10 years to bring someone to justice in this case, but it's important that the public know that we don't stop. We're going to continue working, particularly violent crimes, until we find a suspect, locate a suspect, get probable cause, and arrest a suspect, and that's the bottom line. So the message we hope to the family is that this arrest leads to some sense of justice and some sense of closure. And to everyone, anyone who's ever committed a violent crime in the city of Lafayette, we want you to know that we will be working and we will be looking and arresting you next. And with that, any questions?
Have you guys been able to speak with the victim's family?
Yes, we have.
And what was their reaction when they found out?
Stephen, you want to talk about that?
On Friday, this past Friday, I was able to speak with her daughter. And during that phone conversation, which was March 9th, she said, "Oh my goodness, tomorrow's her birthday." So March 10th was Miss Ruphard's birthday, and I was able to contact the family. Not knowing that, I didn't put two and two together when I actually looked at it and made the notification. But the family was very relieved and very happy that we did not put this case aside, that we continued to work it, and that we were able to give them closure. And she asked for a photograph of the suspect, which I sent to, and I think they were able to get some sense of relief and closure that the individual that was responsible for her mother's murder is now caught and in jail.
To talk about I guess the pride that you feel in your job, saying that this was like one of the first cases that you've ever worked, and it may have taken 10 years, but you finally have come to some type of conclusion with it.
Well, I can tell you with every case that, and this isn't the first time that we've solved some of these colder cases, but it's the same sense of pride with every case. We work for the citizens, we work for the victims, we work for the victims that can't speak for themselves, and that's the ultimate pride as a homicide investigator, is to be able to capture the individual that's responsible for somebody's murder and to give closure to the family. So it's hard to put into words what the sense of pride is, but that's what we do here as homicide investigators and as police officers, is to work for the public, to bring the cases to a good closure, and make sure that we hold the person responsible for the crime, or hold the person responsible who commits the crime.
Did Hebert and Ruphard know each other at all?